ମୁଁ ଆଉ କି କଥା କହିନି। ଘରେ ଟୁନି ରୋଷେଇ କରିକି ମୁଁ ହଁ କରିଗଲା। ହଁ ଆମର ତ ସେ କଣ କରି ବ୍ୟସ୍ତ ହେଇଯିବ। କାଲି ତ ଘର ଧୁଆ ହବ। ବୁଧବାର କାଲି ତ ମୁଁ ଅଛି ଔଷଧ ଆଣିଛି। Juan. Ainal. What is your name, please? Ain La Chuna. Juan. Aila Chuan. Aila Chuan. उगले फेंटा देते करने लग क्लास में ना। Hello, Mr. Oile Chuan. What is your good name? Ain La Chuan. Ain La Chuan. Your name is not audible.
Bandana Raut.
Anil Chuan, it is written Anil Chuan.
Village का नाम है.
अच्छा. You are from?
Sir, Baudh.
Both. You have taken distance education at the optional paper.
Sir, ignore B.Ed कुछ.
ना कॉलेज तुम्हारा बीए सेकंड ये ऑप्शनल पेपर कौन नहीं छो?
Optional paper नहीं है हमारा.
Then how देखियो कौन नहीं?
देखो.
Are you teacher?
हाँ सर.
बहुत रे.
सर बहुत रे.
अच्छा ठीक है. गायत्री असले गायत्री.
सर नमस्कार.
Namaskar, Gayatri. Yesterday she was there. She has this paper as optional.
Sir,
Vandana.
guidance and counseling नहीं sir. Guidance and counseling.
हाँ, guidance counseling. Another one. And two papers, optional papers. One is guidance counseling, another is ICT or OD.
गाइडेंस काउंसलिंग सर गोटे पेपर बोधे गाइडेंस एंड काउंसलिंग
Another paper, two papers, two optional papers na, dita optional paper na tha. Either ICT or your distance and open and distance education.
सर गोटे पेपर बोधे सर
ନାଇଁ ନା ଦିଟା। Okay, no problem. You
हाँ
have taken
सर
guidance. Guidance होते तुम्हारा आरंभ ही ना करना ही लेनी।
सर मु क्लास करि नथिले
ओहो,
कांटेक्ट
अच्छा
एजुकेशन ପରେ ସେଟା ଆରମ୍ଭ ହବ ସେ
अच्छा
କ୍ଲାସ ଟା
अच्छा या पर। साई साई गायत्री।
आज्ञा सर आज्ञा
हाँ, काली कौन बुझा हला तो?
सर वन क्लास सर सफिशिएंट नो गोटे दिन रे बुझिबा
हाँ,
टॉप
हाँ,
आज्ञा
खाली ओवर मुआ टी डिटेल चल जाउ ओवर खाली टी कहया था तथापि माने मिनिमम गोटे ब्लॉक को 4 घंटा हला हो।
नियाती सर नियाती
କିନ୍ତୁ ତାଙ୍କର ସିଷ୍ଟମ ମାନେ ସେ ଯେତିକି ଯାହା ତାଙ୍କର ପରିବେଶୀ ରୁଲ ଯାହା ଅଛି ଠିକ ଅଛି ୟୁ ଆର୍ ଅଲ୍ ଗ୍ରୋନ୍ ଅପ୍ ୟୁ ଆର୍ ଅଲ୍ ଟିଚର୍ସ ଖାଲି ଟିକେ ଲତାକୁ ମଡେଇ ଦିଅନ୍ତି ଚଢେଇବା ପାଇଁ ଡାଳ ଦିଅନ୍ତି ମଞ୍ଚା ଗୋଟେ କରନ୍ତି ସେଇଆ ତ କିଛି ପଢିବୁ କିଛି ଅସୁବିଧା ନାହିଁ the materials are written in such a way that you can understand ଏଇଟା ତ ବହି ନୁହେଁ ନା ଏଇଟା ସବୁ ସେଲ୍ଫ ଇନଷ୍ଟ୍ରକ୍ସନ ମେଟେରିଆଲ ଏଇ ପାଠ ତମକୁ ନିଜକୁ ଏଇ ଯୋଉ ମେଟେରିଆଲ ତିଆରି ହେଇଛି ସେ ତମକୁ ଇନଷ୍ଟ୍ରକ୍ସନ ଦବ ନିଜେ ନିଜେ ବୁଝିବ ଆଉ ଖାଲି ଜଷ୍ଟ ଟେକ୍ନିକାଲ ଜିନିଷ ଅଛି ଆମେ କହିଦବା କଥା ଟିକେ ଟିକେ ଗାୟତ୍ରୀ ତମ ଘରଟା କୋଉଠି କହୁଛନ୍ତି କାଲି
आज्ञा सर आली आली ब्लॉक आली
ଆଳି
ରୁ
ଆଳି
କେନ୍
ହଁ
आली
ପଟାମୁଣ୍ଡି ଆଳି
आज्ञा
କେନ୍ଦ୍ରାପଡ଼ା
आज्ञा
ଆଳି ସବୁ ବାତ୍ୟା ବନ୍ୟା ବେଶୀ ହଉଛି ଏଠି ଆଉ
आज्ञा सर आज्ञा
ରାଜକନିକା ଆଳି ତ ଲଗା ଲାଗି ବୋଧେ
आज्ञा सर आज्ञा पाख ब्लॉक आज्ञा
ହଁ ପାଖ ଟିକେ କାଲିଠୁ ବୋଧେ କଣ ବାତ୍ୟା ହବ ବୋଲି କହୁଛ ନ୍ୟୁଜ କହୁଛି ଲାଇଟ ଲଗେଇଥିବା କାଲି ବାତ୍ୟା କଥା କହୁଛି ବର୍ଷା ହବ ବୋଲି ଆମ ଆଡେ ନୁହଁ ସେପଟେ କୋରାପୁଟ ପଶ୍ଚିମାଞ୍ଚଳ ଦକ୍ଷିଣ ଓଡିଶା କୋରାପୁଟ
सर ଆପଣଙ୍କର
କଣ କହିଲେ
ଆପଣଙ୍କର କୋଉ ଡିଷ୍ଟ୍ରିକ୍ଟ ସାର୍
ଆକ୍ଚୁଆଲି ମୋ ଘର ଭଦ୍ରକ କିନ୍ତୁ ମୁଁ ଅଛି ଗଞ୍ଜାମ ବ୍ରହ୍ମପୁରରେ
ଆଜ୍ଞା ଆଜ୍ଞା
ମୋର ମୋ ଜନ୍ମ ଘର ହଉଛି ଭଦ୍ରକ ଅଗରପଡା କିନ୍ତୁ ମୁଁ ଏପଟେ ଚାକିରି କରିକି ଏପଟେ ରିଟାୟାର କରି ରହିଯାଇଛି ଆଉ let the others join. Uh, Informal talk. The term distance education. Education at a distance. Distance means not physical distance. Because, for example, the teacher is in Barampur and the student in Ali. Is it distance? No. Distance means when the teacher is separated from the learner. And if the in spite of that, the learner is narrated to the teacher or the teacher is narrated to the student through two-way communication, through teleconferencing, through counseling, like that. So now the teacher is narrated to the student to clarify the doubts, to facilitate the process of learning, like that. The, there is a physical separation between teacher and student. Physically we are not. आम क्लासरूम जी पिला आगे ठिया पिला देखुं तुमको क्लासरूम फिजिकाली एटा डिस्टेंस लर्न एजुकेशन सिस्टम ओपन एजुकेशन सिस्टम टीचर इज एट ए डिस्टेंस फ्रॉम द स्टूडेंट अल्प पिला तो कहीं जॉइन करना दे जॉइन किए लिपिका लिपिका
आज्ञा सर नमस्कार
नमस्कार 6टा 8 है तुम अच्छे डिस्टेंस एजुकेशन स्पेशल पेपर
आज्ञा सर
हाँ वेरी गुड देन सत्यजीत लिपिका तुम कोड कहूछ
सर मु भद्रक रु कहउछली
भद्रक को जगह
चरमपा
चरमपा
आज्ञा
आई बिलोंग टू भद्रक माय ब्रदर्स मो भाई बहन रहउछन बंद छक
अच्छा अच्छा चरमपा रु बंद छक आज्ञा
हां 3-4 किलोमीटर रेलवे स्टेशन के
आज्ञा
सेठी मो भाई थे भद्रक इंग्लिश रे रीडर थे रिटायर ब्रजमोहन मिश्र बापा जानी सब पेपर बहुत से रीडर भद्रक ले
हां मु जानी छी
ब्रजमोहन मिश्र
आज्ञा
फ्री हाउस थे हमर जिला स्कूल हेड मिस्ट्रेस बिना बन रतो
हां हां
Satyajit, could you listen to me? Am I audible to you? Subudhi, Satyajit? Subudhi. आरंभ करिबा should I start? Okay. Good evening to you all. I welcome you to the second day session, second day evening session. Yesterday, we have had a discussion on the evolution of distance and open and distance education. How it has originated, what is the genesis, what is the concept of distance education, what are the major objectives, what are the theoretical perspective behind the concept of distance education. All these have been talked about, and you might have gained some kind of experiences and knowledge in relation to distance, open and distance education. That was all about block 1, having 4 units. And today, our discussion will be, you will know what are the different teaching strategies, what are the different aspects of teaching at a distance, because this teacher is physically at a distant place from the learner. There is no physical contact, face-to-face contact. So therefore, how to teach if the student is not nearer to you, if the student is away from you, physically not nearer to you, then does it mean that you cannot teach? We cannot teach. So how? So what are the different teaching strategies? All these have been talked about in block 2. If different teaching methods, teaching strategies are to be adopted by the teacher in the field of distance, open and distance education, then how can those teaching methods be designed? What are the different technologies which can be used? So all these have been talked about in 4 blocks under block 2. Unit 5, Unit 6, Unit 7, Unit 8. For example, in Unit 5, the design of the self-instructional, self-learning material has been discussed. And such self-learning materials, they focus on instructional design models, including universal. There are different designs which we call self-learning materials. For example, universal design, or it will be applicable to all universal. Similarly, SLM, self-learning materials, all these are discussed in your Unit 5. In Unit 6, media and technology for distance education has been discussed. What are the media? Because already I have told you many times here and there that this open and distance education makes use of multimedia, many media, maybe printed, maybe your video, maybe teleconferencing, maybe audio material. So a variety of, but relevant to the context, multimedia and technology have been used. So therefore, this unit, Unit 6, which is entitled as Media and Technology for Open and Distance Education, highlight the taxonomy of media. Taxonomy means classification. Taxonomy is a botanical term, means classification of media, how those media could be used or applied in in open and distance education, like that. All these have been talked about in Unit 6. We can make a very detailed discussion later on. Then in Unit 7, what is that Unit 7? The title of Unit 7 is Development of Self-Learning Materials. Print materials. Only print materials like your texts, something like that. Then in last unit, that is Unit 8, in Unit 8, development of e-learning resources. E means electronic learning resources like mobile technology, like that. All these have been learning management system or learning content management system. All these all are discussed. So let us have a very detailed discussion on each unit. Under block 2, what is the title of block 2? Teaching at a distance, design and development of open and distance education resources. What are the resources in the field of open and distance education which could help the teacher for teaching the learners at a distant place? So that has been talked about. Now let us come to Unit 5. That is the first block of your block. That is the first unit of your block 2. So, what is the title of Unit 5? Designing self-learning materials. So, learning materials either in formal situation or in your open and distance education system, learning materials are important. Learning materials are the key factor. Otherwise, how can the learners learn? How can the teacher teach? How can the teacher facilitate the process of learning? So therefore, the success of open and distance education system largely depends on the quality and effectiveness of the teaching learning materials. So therefore, distance teaching learning materials are popularly called self-instructional materials. SIM, self-instructional material or self-learning materials. So these are the materials under your distance, open and distance education system. And this SIM, self-instructional materials or self-learning materials, as we call, are inevitable, are most important, indispensable to make delivery of open and distance education. So therefore, there are a large number of instructional strategies which are adopted by open and distance education institution. So let us see what are those. One is your text material strategies. What are the text material strategies? Your SIM, self-insure material, that is printed. So therefore, self-insure material, this is one. Then broadcast strategy, like radio, like your television programs, radio broadcast, cassettes, videos. These are your broadcast strategy. Another is your mixed mode or multimedia strategy, many media that you can know. Then online strategy, nowadays it is very profitably used by the learners, also teachers. Then supplementary and complementary study, sorry, project work, face-to-face personal contact for PCP. As I am talking to you, PCP or other teachers, they talk to you from a distance place through online mode. Then peer group discussion. Sometimes the learners themselves, you are all distant learners. You can talk among yourself through telephone or through when you are assembled for a project work or in some context. So therefore, that is a peer group discussion. Then audio, visual, television, then globe, chat, like that. Audio, visual, teleconference through telephone. We can, if you have some, for example, we have different regions, RC, regional centers. For IGNOU, headquarter is Delhi. Now, Delhi, the headquarter will instruct all the regional centers, maybe Odisha, Bhubaneswar, something, Anugul, maybe Koraput, maybe Kashmir, maybe Calcutta, maybe Madhya Pradesh, that on such and such date, and at a particular time, there will be some kind of clarification. So, all the students should come to the center and they will be asked to listen to the speaker. कौन हबो ना दिल्ली रे जने कहूथे भलो एमिनेंट एजुकेशनिस्ट गोटे टॉपिक ऊपर कहूथुवे जो सेंटर पिला माने से सेंटर रे बसथिबे टेलीविजन थिबो देखुथुवे द मोमेंट द डिस्कशन इज ओवर बाय द एक्सपर्ट यू हैव बीन टोल्ड अर्लियर आगुर कहैतो जो एक्सपर्ट पढौचंती घंटाटे पढेबे सेथरे जदी कोनोसी डिफिकल्ट थाए क्वेश्चन थाए गोटे कागज लेखि रखथिबो कारण समय नाही ना बहुत कॉस्टली टेलीफोन ले आफ्टर द कंप्लीशन ऑफ द मोमेंट the discussion is over. Now the expert will ask any question from Odisha Bhubaneswar Regional Center. How many are there? 3. Now, please 1 minute you tell. Then you can tell your question. He will answer you. 5 minutes will be given to 5 minutes will be given to each regional center. So that is teleconferencing. Then instruction design, because we have to instruct the learners, distant learners. So therefore we are designing. Then what is instruction? Instruction is defined as the combination of teaching and learning. So how do the learners learn? Through teaching. So we can say teaching causes learning. If the students learn, it is because of the teacher. So teaching causes learning. So therefore, there is a mutual interaction between the student. This is instruction. Mutual interaction between the student or the learner and the teacher. Student performance is the focal point of the instruction design. What is design? If this is the instruction, then design refers to a plan or set of artifacts produced to illustrate thought and provide guidance. So now the teacher is planning how to make the students understand the situation, how to make the students think about the content. So therefore, learning design applies concept, theories, practices about the construction of knowledge. So whenever you are preparing a design, that plan must be based on certain concepts, theories. For example, you must have heard the name of Bandura F. Skinner, B.F. Skinner. On the basis of he has developed, he has advocated operant conditioning. This is the learning theory, operant conditioning theory of learning. And on the basis of operant conditioning, we have developed the self-instruction materials, linear programming, branching, something like that. So for the first time he talked about. So therefore this is a theory. So now we have instruction design. The purpose is to increase the possibility of learning. When the instruction design is used, then learning will be more, make the acquisition of knowledge and skill more efficient, because you have planned. When you are proceeding according to your plan and instructing, definitely it will help in the acquisition of knowledge. The students will acquire knowledge very effectively. Encourage the students so that they learn faster and gain deeper levels of understanding. So when the teacher is profusely using the instruction design, which is well planned, then it will affect and it will help the student to understand the learning material. Learning. Then what are the principles? Principles of instruction design? Basically three: cognitive, affective, and psychomotor. These are the three principles on which the educationists, they prepare learning instruction design. What is that cognitive learning? That is one of the principles of instruction design. What is cognitive? Means learning, knowing, knowledge. So therefore, this cognitive learning helps us to in the process, helps one to design the instruction or instruction design. Through cognitive learning, we can introduce novel events. The students will learn new things, something. Inform learners about expected learning outcomes. Recall relevant prerequisites. Recall relevant prerequisites and base the presentation. Prerequisite means essentials. That is, we call entry behavior. For example, for for the students who want to learn multiplication, so what is the prerequisite? Addition. If you do not know addition, you cannot learn multiplication. Similarly, for the division, हरण पाई फेडान दरकार, गुणन पाई मिशान दरकार. So मिशान टा हला addition is a prerequisite, आवश्यक. कहा पाई ना गुणन पाई, फेडान कहा पाई आवश्यक, prerequisite हरण पाई. So therefore we must understand that, and present only relevant and essential information, recall relevant prerequisites, follow teaching maxims. What are the maxims? Proceeding from simple to complex, proceeding from concrete to abstract, like that. So these are some of provide constructive feedback to the learners. Then affective learning, affective domain, affective learning is mostly related to the feeling side. For cognitive, to the knowledge, related to knowledge. Affective is related to feeling, knowing, feeling, and psychomotor is related to doing, painting, something like that, swimming, doing. So affective learning make adequate provision for external reward, ensure that learners, when you are basing your instruction design on the principle of affective learning, then they take the learners into confidence and tell them that the behavior they are going to acquire is useful. If your learning design, if your design is based on affective learning, then the students will know that this kind of behavior they are expected to learn, something like that. Similarly, associate content with the object which can capture and sustain their interest. Associate content with the object. For example, सत कहवा पिला किमी सत कहवा ना गोटे कंटेंट को आसोसिएट करिया कोन मिछुआ राधुआ गप कहवा जे मिछ कले कोन असुविधा होची, सत कले कोन सुविधा होची, कोन कहवा. तेनु एई जो गोटे मूल्यबोध सत कहवा, now that has been content, that has been core associated with the object of that story. So association. Similarly, psychomotor learning. Psychomotor is mostly related to skill, performance based. How to do better. For example, in science, experimentation, conducting experimentation. Identify skill characteristics, demonstrate and explain the skill, why the skill is required, and how much skill is required. How can I show my skill? Provide ample practice and feedback. So these are the cognitive learning, affective learning, and psychomotor learning, which are the principles behind your instructional design. Also, there are different models, process and models. Manos, do you want to say something? Manos, any problem? No. Okay. For example, uh, one of the models is your assure model. S stands for something, S stands for something.
Manas, do you want something?
Manos, okay, ठीक. So, what is A? This is the model. A means analyze learners. That means when you are analyzing learners means what are the interests of the learner, what are the attitude of learners, what they want from the learning situation, what are their needs. So you have to analyze. Then S means state standards and objectives. What are the objectives? What the students want from your teaching, from your learning. And therefore, you have to state the standards, parameters, conditions like that. Then S means select strategies, technology, media and material. When the learning will take place, when the instruction is going on, then definitely the teacher will select the strategies, technique, technology, software, hardware, media, material, method, approach, like that. Then U, this is the assure model, SSUR. U means utilize technical. R means require learner participation. Instruction is going on. The teacher is teaching. If the student is not participating in the process, then it is meaningless. So therefore, the student should be interested, should be motivated. Then he can participate. Then evaluate and revise. To what extent? Because you are teaching. While teaching, the teacher has the objective. To what extent those objectives have been realized? How can you know? So therefore, you are assessing, evaluating. This is the model. Another model is ADDIE model. ADDIE model. What is that ADDIE model? A means analyze. During this stage, you should the teacher should analyze learners' needs, characteristics, learning styles, constraints. That means what are the problems of the learners? There are different types of learners: slow learners, fast learners. How can the slow learners be dealt with? How can the fast learners be dealt with, like that? Then design. This stage, the second stage, design stage, deals with learning objectives, assessment instruments. How can you assess? Formative or summative. Concept map means organization of content. What step by step. Major concept, then minor concept, then unit, sub-unit, like that. Then develop. At this stage, the teacher should generate content, develop prototype learning material, develop guidance for the learner. That means how the students can develop themselves. So therefore, you have to guide them, something like that. You have to support them. You should facilitate their learning. Then implement. During this stage, the learners are provided different learning experiences for effective transaction. Different type of experiences. For example, experiences from the library. How? When the students are given some project work, so they will go to the library. The teacher will suggest to go to library and you can collect these books and write your project. Similarly, field study. You can go to different fields. Fields means places which are geographically or historically significant. For example, Konark or Puri or any botanical garden like that, so that you can gain knowledge from that. Then you have to implement. That means during this stage, learners are provided different learning experiences for effective learning. Then evaluate to what extent all these have been the objective have been realized. We have to evaluate. So therefore, through evaluation, the effectiveness of all the components. Components development, develop, implement, analyze, design, all can be known. This is another model. Then universal model, another model of instruction design. Universal means for all. Slow learner, fast learner, boys, girls, hilly area, urban area, rural area, plain area, like that. So the concept of universal design has its origin in architecture like that. It has also acquired its significance. Universal design puts high value on both diversity and inclusiveness. That means there are different types of different types of students. So they should be included. Therefore, it has been well said in the national curriculum framework that difference is a fact. This has been told. Difference is a fact. Let us celebrate it. Means you are not like me. We are different. No two students are alike. One is intelligent, another is dull. One is doing homework, another is not doing homework. In spite of that, all should be included in the system. Therefore, the design should be prepared in such a way to instruct the learners of different categories. That is universal design. Similarly, universal design in education. For example, classroom climate must be like, it has been well written here. You can understand. I am telling classroom climate. If the teacher is not taking care of the students, if the classroom is not very attractive, the teacher behavior is one example. If the behavior of the teacher in the classroom situation is not conducive, देखिथिबो तुम माने टीचर माने मोर एक्सपीरियंस कोची गां माने करे आम बेले पिला माने शिक्षक माने पिलर जाति की नेकी गाल दियो ए तू छोटो नो इट इज नॉट लाइक दैट the classroom climate is destroyed. Similarly, interaction between the student teacher, physical environment, surrounding, beautification of camp, all these are also important. Then theories of learning. When you are talking about the design, which design? Instruction design, then all the design, they are based upon certain learning, because designs are instruction designs are meant for facilitating learning. So therefore, all learning in distance education is essentially a personal activity. For example, you are a distance learner, I am a distance learner, she is a Kirana Manjari is a distance learner. We are not all same. So your way of working, for example, you are studying at night 9 to 10. I am studying on Sunday. You are studying at any time. So therefore, it is personal activity. So one of the psychological theory is your behaviorism. Your Skinner, operant conditioning. What is behaviorism? Behavior is a question of connection between stimulus and response. So it has been well said, the behavior stress on the connection between stimulus and response in the organism. For example, let me give an example for your understanding. When the teacher, you are all teachers, those who are teachers, when you call the roll number 1, if the roll number 1 is present, he or she says, yes sir, present sir. Roll calling, present sir. Roll calling, present sir. This is the connection. Behaviorism says. Skinner is one of the important behaviorists propagated operant conditioning. That means whenever anything is good, you operate, you function, and your behavior is operating. And this operant conditioning had the implication for distance education. That is programmed for a programmed instruction and teaching machine he has talked about. And therefore, we can say programmed instruction and teaching machine, teaching through machines, teaching machines They are the contribution of Skinner. Another is your cognitivism. Cognitive knowledge. Cognitivism uses the metaphor of the mind as computer. Mind is just like computer, receiving information, processing information, and giving an output. That means, for example, you are in the forest. For example, you are in the forest or you are at the bank of the river. When you are at the nदी कूल अछ आखि बुदैछ नदी गनेछ पानी जाउची के माछ धरुची के भासी जाउची. Now all these we call it stimulating situation. They are going to the brain, mind, and you are interpreting. अरे ये लोकटा काहे भासी गला ताकु धरो आनो दौड़ पका रे ये लोकटा कोन खेलुची पाले ए बापा पळिया बुडी जिवु ये लोकटा कोन मेथी गुटे माछ धरुची पानी आसी like that. So this is your information processing. Then this cognitivism as an information processing technique has the implication for distance education. Where in developing in the learner a predisposition to a learning by specifying experience, what kind of experience the students are to get. It can be specified, simplifying information to the learner, specifying the most effective sequential. Sequence means step by step, orderly. Then specifying the nature and pacing of extrinsic and intrinsic reinforcement. There are two. What is reinforcement? Reinforcement is a technique to strengthen the correct behavior. For example, when you are asking a question, the student is raising the hand or making the hand fall down. You can say, yes. You know that the student does not know the answer. तमे जानिचो ए प्लेयर जो हाथ टेकुछ ना ये उत्तर जानी नाही खाली हाथ टेकुछ पकुछ किंतु तमे कहबो जे ए तू उत्तर जाननु खाली हाथ टेकुछ पक बस ना ता कह हां हसी कयो ए तमे बढ़िया उत्तर जानछ ना मु जानी मु तुम पचारिबी तमे जानिचो ये उत्तर जानी नाही कि तमे कहू ना तमे ताके एनकरेज कर reinforcing. This is extrinsic, outside, from the outside of the organism. Organism is student, you are the external outside. You are encouraging. Yes. तो पिलाटी भांगी पड़ जासी को दीदी सार मैं पारिबी तमे को ना ये केते हमरा अब्दुल कलाम कहले प्रा नो मीन्स नेक्स्ट अपॉर्चुनिटी एन मीन्स नेक्स्ट ओ मीन्स अपॉर्चुनिटी नेक्स्ट अपॉर्चुनिटी फेल से कहले नाही अब्दुल दी देन प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ इंडिया ही सेड फेल मीन फर्स्ट अटेम्प्ट इन लर्निंग आम कहे फेल गला ना ठीक है प्रथम अटेम्प्ट मु सेकंड अटेम्प्ट पास करी थर्ड अटेम्प्ट पास करी कोन हला बट मु पास करी से 5 थरे पर 6 थरे पारे यदि से भाबियो परीक्षा दे परियो ए फेल ना हबोनी नाही लाइक दैट. So this is the cognitivism. Then Gane talked about the hierarchy of learning theory step by step. So Gane synthesized the approaches of learning given by both the behaviorist and cognitive theory. I'm from him, for Gane, learning, Gane, learning is a change in human disposition or a capability that takes place inside an individual brain. So a kind of change. How can you know that learning has taken place? When there is a change in your brain. For example, when even myself, when we are small children, reading in class 5, 4, 0 means what? My teacher, आम शिक्षक कहते मत कई कहबो कि 0 माने कौन? आम कह जे शिक्षक कहि प्राथमिक स्तर रे के जने किरण मनोजरी और प्रज्ञा लिपिका शून्य माने कौन 0 माने कौन के जने को आम को कह जाय पिले शिक्षक कहजंती के कहबोनी प्रज्ञा नहीं ठीक अछि 0 माने किछि नहीं 0 माने किछि नो फॉर एग्जांपल आई वांट 0 रसगोल्ला मु किछि रसगोल्ला चाहुने नहीं जेतो पिला सेटा छोटो पिला पई जेतो सेही पिला बड़ हेइ जो आमे कह 0 पावर केते ना इनफिनाइट ये छोटो पिला का इनफिनाइट में कोन धरो ए करे डाहाने पटरे बसिला सुनो हे गेले कोन 10 सो लाइक दैट एनीहाउ So this Ganesh theory of learning has also more contribution to the field of distance education in for the script writers and also course writers like that. Then another theory is Bloom's theory. Benjamin S. Bloom. For the first time, he talks about taxonomy of educational objectives. Every human behavior or every human being has three domains. One is cognitive domain, another is affective domain, another is cognitive or psychomotor domain. Knowing, cognitive, affective feeling, and psychomotor doing. So therefore, all these cognitive, affective, psychomotor, they have also educational implications. For example, as a teacher, you want to facilitate the process of multiplication. पिला को गुणन शिखेबा प्रथम से पिला को 1 digit to 25 गुणन 5 कि 5 गुणन 5 9 गुणन 9 8 गुणन 3 तापर डबल डिजिट 25 गुणन 28 लाइक दैट अच्छा आमे शिक्षक पढ़ौछि कोन राम तम ना कोन राम हां वेरी गुड तमे दिन को 5टा मिछ 5टी मिछ गले गोटे सप्ताह रे केतटी मिछ कहइबो ना 5 सप्ताह को 7 दिन 5 गुणन 7 समान 35 मिछ अच्छा जने पचारि बासिकी आज्ञा सार कौन करछोंती ना जाननती मु बा गुणन शिखौची ना गुणन तो शिखौछोंती किंतु पिला कौन शिखिला गुणन शिखिलानी पिला शिखिला मु 35 टा कोन मु 2 लाख मिछ कहि मासु त माने दिस इज नॉट वैल्यू बेस्ड our Indian education system is value based. Our education is value based. आमे गुणन शिक्षा माने न मु दिन को 10 पेटी मत पीले 15 दिन केते पेटी पीबी ना खराब गुणटा काई कोनते आमे पॉजिटिव क्वालिटी दबा पॉजिटिव कथा शिखेबा तमर बापा तुमको दिन को 10 टका दियंती जळखा खाया पाई तमे कोन करो ना 5 टका जळखा खा 5 टका रखी दियो संचय करो तमे मास को केते टका संचय करिवो ना 5 टका गुणन 10 टका मु 5 टका खर्च करी 5 टका रहिला ताने मास 30 दिन धर 30 28 जाओ 30 दिन 30 गुणन 5 150 टका माने पिला गुणन शिखिला एवं भल कथा शिखिला कोन ना संचय करिवा एमिति बहुत भल भल गुण आमे जो सत्य से बाबा कहले ह्यूमन वैल्यूज when the teacher is teaching you are teaching science, you are teaching English, you are teaching history, you are teaching geography, you are teaching any subject. But whatever content you are teaching, that should be value based. अच्छा आउ गोटे कथा जहाँ पढ़ातु घंटा बाजीगला 45 मिनिट पीरियड नहीं घंटा 45 मिनिट घंटा बाजीगला जेते बेले आमे क्लास छाडु आमे कोन क्लोज करिवा पिला माने घंटा बाजीगला आज तुम कोन पढ़ेली हरण पढ़ले कि बाई पढ़ेले कि पंचायत कौन पढ़ेले कौन शिखिलो गोटे हाँ या शिखल तो माने पिला भितर गोटे स्लो इंजेक्शन दिया जे पिला गोटे भल कथा जानो एनी हाउ another theory is mathematical theory. This is we consider mathematical theory a representative line of thought which emphasizes the maximal and effective use of electronic means in transmitting and receiving information. That means electronic media are used in a large number in the instruction design, in the process of instruction, so that the students can learn well. Similarly, information theory. What is that information theory? It studies the quantification, storage and communication of information. How much information is communicated, how much is stored, like that. That is also more important. खाली शिक्षक पढ़ेले कौन हम पिला एकान पशिला एकान नहीं कि हम चारि प्रकार पिला आसती चिरी चिरा चिरी बेगा बैग चिरा बैग बेगा बैग चिरा माने पिला शीघ्र केते पिला शीघ्र मन रखिए शीघ्र भूलजे केते पिला शीघ्र मन रखिए विलंब रे छाड़िबे भूलिबे केते शीघ्र भूलिबे शीघ्र जानिबे लाइक दैट तेनो हमकु सेटा मध्ये देखिया पड़ियो देन फ्री प्रेस एंड सोशल रेस्पोंसिबिलिटी थ्योरी this theory uphold freedom of expression. The students should be given freedom, not that the Brahma jaha kale bed शिक्षक ब्रह्मा आए मु jaha को bed बिली bed ना. The students have also equal right to express themselves, which has a direct implication for freedom of learning. whenever you are instructing, the students should be given academic freedom. You are free to interact with me like that. So all these theory have practical implications for the designing. Then, whenever the materials are prepared, maybe electronic material, maybe self-instruction material, to facilitate the learning process, to facilitate the instructional process, they should there should be intellectual clarity. That means they should help the student to clarify their intelligence. Linguistic simplicity, language should be simple. Concretization, concrete, not abstract. It should give specific example, appropriate media, like that. And also, whenever you are instructing your learners, your objective should be very clear. That means, whenever you are going to teach your learners, you must say, my student, today I am going to teach something about oxygen. Do you know why should you learn oxygen? So these are the benefits if you know oxygen. So when you learn oxygen, you will be able to do all this. So this is your objective. Therefore, whenever you are using different types of techniques, your different types of media, different materials, then the students will be motivated. So therefore, students' motivation should be taken care of so that they can, once the students are motivated, they can exploit their experiences, and that will facilitate the process of learning, and that will draw their attention, and the students will not leave the class. So therefore, it will promote the transfer of learning. Means from one situation, whatever you learn from your classroom situation, that will be used that will be transferred, used in a life situation. For example, मिशाण फेड़ाण गुण शिखले क्लास रु आम जाकि धर बैगण किणुंट बापा 100 टका देते बैगण किलो 50 टका से दुकानी के फेड़ब ना 50 टका ना 100 फेड़ाण 50 ये फेड़ाण कथा वियोग कथा सारे पढ़े कि दीदी पढ़े कौट ना क्लास रे आम व्यवहार कले खाली मार्क पाइबा नुह परीक्षा नुह गणित ज्ञान आम आम दैनंदिन जीवन में व्यवहार कर. So therefore, this is about your instruction design. Also, there are certain key considerations of designing self-learning materials. For example, there are different principles. For example, gaining attention of learner. The learner should be attentive, participate, if it is attractive. Informing learners of the objective, what the students are expected to learn. Stimulating recall, presenting the stimulus. That means whatever you are going to teach, before that, you can give something before that, you can tell something about before that. Providing learning guidance, you can, as a teacher, you can tell, you can, guidance means assistance, you can assist. If you know this, it can help you when you do +2 or +3 or for your job, something like that. All these are there. Therefore, instruction design is a very important aspect of your open and distance education system. This is all about your unit 1, sorry, unit 5, then unit 6, media and technology for open and distance education system. Already I have told you, in the distance education system, there are different types of media and material which could be used for facilitating the process of learning. So therefore, we can, and this has been discussed here in unit 6. Now, the role of media is quite central to the success of distance education. Definitely, not only in distance education, in formal education, also media plays a very important role. For example, using television, using your tape recorder, using your printed material, using your education technology, using your teleconference, using your video recording. So they will help to concretize the abstract concept to the learners. So therefore, the digital system or analogic systems are important in the process of learning. Why? They demonstrate process or procedures show model or construct examples, demonstrate impersonal communication, dramatize or reconstruct event because the things have taken place. Now it will, for example, Shivaji ka judha katha padhautanti. Shiva to nahanti na, then ଆମେ ତାକୁ କଣ କରିବା recording କରିକି ଗୋଟେ dramatize କରିପାରିବା. Then there are taxonomy of media. There are different classification. Taxonomy means classification. Media can be classified into different categories. You know, but face-to-face lecture, classes in school, small group discussion, tutorials, self groups like that. That is face-to-face. This is one type of media. Another printed text, textbook structured, then film, TV, audio, like your audio tapes, like telephone conferencing, all these. And then audio graphics, like your recording on the audio tape of the spoken commentary and graphics or alphanumeric data for display on the television screen. For example, weather forecasting. So they are showing that these are the affected area by the rain, by some color, something like that. Computer added in instruction, then laboratory or project practical work, assignments. So all these are your different types of technologies which could be used, media which could be used. For example, print, electronic and educational media, there are merits and demerits. I'll talk one or two. You can understand at your level, no problem. For example, what are strengths of your print media or medium? It is easy to transmit information through print media. Then it is economical, time will be saved, money will be saved, had traditionally been used for pedagogical purposes. The limitations are lack of immediate teacher-learner interaction. Sometimes interaction is not possible among the learners or between the learners, between the teacher and learner. Less scope for active learner participation, may not participate, the learner may not participate. All these are there. Similarly, strength of electronic media, you can understand it is not difficult. For example, it is better to see that if you have the material with you, table 6.3, merits and demerits of various education media, it is given. Don't read all the other. If you look at this table, you can understand. For example, let me have a sample discussion. Your medium is television. What are the merits? Wide easy access, mass coverage, combined sound and visual presentation, wide coverage of content, can shift its focus from extensive to intensive, high-tech appeal, change in image, like that. But what are the demerits? Script writing and production costly as well as complex. So to write a script on the television is very costly, also difficult, needs costly hardware, one-way flow. For example, what is one-way flow? The television is telling whenever you are observing. Now, whenever you have any question, can you ask the question to the television to clarify? No, it is one way from that side, not from your side. One way traffic. Fixed time schedule. On a particular time, it is scheduled. For example, UGC program. For example, your NCT program on fixed time. So all these are given there. Then the relationship between media, technology and distance education, that has been talked about. For example, one or two I will tell, then the rest of the things you can understand. Your media is text. Text is media. Technology is your graphics, print, graphics. In the textbook, printed material, graphs are there, graphics are there. Then distance education application is course unit, supplementary material, correspondence tutoring. Similarly, you can take your television. Then television is the media. And technology is broadcasting, video cassettes, video discs, cable, satellite, fiber optics, ITFS, microwave, video conferencing. These are the technologies. Then distance education, how can you apply television? programs for different programs, lectures, video, conference. For example, I was telling you, some of the experts, they will be invited to give a talk on any topic relevant to you on the television. Then it will be broadcast to the different centers. Then instructional and delivery technologies in distance education. Now in table 6.5, instruction design in distance education. For example, telecommunication based radio or TV broadcast, or internet, or audio graphic, live interactive, computer assisted, printed, like that. All these are there, you can see. Similarly, list of distance delivery system, table 6.6, system print, media print material. How can you deliver? Through mail, postal, audio cassette, radio broadcast, all the media, telephone. How can you send? Through mail, radio transmission, through radio you can talk, operator, like that. Electronic graphics. What is the media? If this is a system, media is electronic electronic board and fax. How can you make delivery? Through your telephone lines, like that. So all these are used in your open and distance education system. All these media, they have implication for learning. That means when the media are used, what for? All media are used for facilitating making the learning effective. So therefore they have pedagogical utility. Pedagogy means teaching learning process. They have these media, they have they are useful in the teaching learning process. For example, your chain talked about, these are the uses. Interactivity, more interaction between student and teacher. Instruction strategy, it refers to a teaching activity through which learners learn. So what are the activities during teaching? It motivates, feedback or evaluation, which has been good, which has not been good, which has been mastered, which has not been mastered. So therefore it can be known. So therefore a summary is given in table 6.7. Pedagogical consideration of media. For example, you take the case of audio, all I will tell you, for your understanding, I am telling one or two. Audio conferencing. So two way or multiple way. Student, teacher, or audience also, public. Then instruction strategy. What can you do? For what reason you can make use of audio conferencing? Discussion, whenever you want to discuss, then you can make use of audio conferencing. Addressing a problem. For example, there is a problem. That problem can be sorted out, that problem can be addressed through the audio conferencing. Motivation, yes, motivation is there. Then feedback, immediately it can help the students to learn. Similarly, facts. Facts is one way. Limited to transmission, that only data is transmitted. It is limited, but always not it is motivating, sometimes delayed. Now feedback, not immediate, it is delayed. All these are there, you can understand. Then print-based media has already been, already I have told you, printed materials, audio-based, video-based media, all these are there. Also computer-based media. When the computer is used as the media in the instruction process, then it will increase the learner's motivation. Definitely computer, it will create interest, motivation, helping recall previous learning. Whenever you are doing, how best you can solve your problem. Are you not recalling the past experience, past problem? Providing new instruction stimuli, activating the learner's response. The learner is participating. Learning is more participatory. Providing systematic and steady feedback. Gradually, it gives you. Facilitating appropriate practice. Sequencing, step by step, sequencing learning appropriately. You are proceeding step by step. First this, next second this, after second third, like that. Providing viable source of information. Sometimes if that source is not here, you can download, you can know what is the source, like that. So computer can be used, computer can assist you in a procedure like. Now, it has been also said how technologies can be applied in the field of open and distance education system. Now, if you look at, if you have your material with you, you can see table 6.8, one-way and two-way technologies. For example, that is table is there, media, headings media, one-way technology application, two-way. Text is media, course unit, supplementary material, that is one way. Then two-way, correspondence tutoring. It will be sent to the student will write to you like that. Television, broadcast program, cassette program, this is one way. Interactive television. That means you can, when whatever has been, when you have seen something on television, you can through telephone, you can clarify all these. Interactive radio, something like that. uh, interactive radio counseling. So the experts they are talking on different issues, problems in the radio, and whenever you have any problem, you can talk to them. Teleconferencing already I have told you. So therefore, all these materials or technologies, media should be generated by the distance education system so that it can help in the process of two-way communication that has been given in the tabular form. For example, distance education technologies, two-way communication, correspondence education, teleconferencing, microprocessor based ancillary media, that is one way, print material, audio, put together either one way or two way. These are the different media which can be used. Now, in table 6.9, models of distance education, a concept of framework, different models are given. The characteristics of delivery technology is given flexibility or a highly refined material. This is one way. Advanced interactive delivery, institutional variable, all these are there. So whether it is possible, to what extent, that has been talked about. Then another is your technology enhanced learning. When you are using technology in the context of open and distance education system, then it will make the learning process very effective and facilitating. So that is related here. So this is all about your second unit. Then let us come to the third unit. That is unit 7. Development of self-learning print material. Print material. The material, this is your material. This is SIM, self-instruction material, which is based on the principle of learning principle of your Skinner. This is print material. Now, unit 7 talks about development of self-learning print material. Because this print material plays an important role in the open and distance education system. Therefore, we must know how to develop, how to design, why it is to be designed. So let us know what is this. These learning materials should therefore be designed in such a way that the function of an effective teacher are built into it, or we can say the distance teacher in the learning material perform the functions of a classroom teacher, such as directing the students, motivating them, explaining the concept, asking the questions, assessing them. So all these are done by teacher in the formal system. For example, when the teacher is in the classroom situation, is he not asking questions? Is he not explaining? Is he not showing the pictures, aids? Also, when you read the self-instruction material, when you go through that, it is just like working, it is as good as the teacher, what he does in the classroom situation, or she does. So therefore, it is not a textbook. In the textbook, only content is presented. You have to read and you have to gain. The teacher will assist you. But in case of self-instruction material, no teacher is helping you. You are facilitating your own learning. You are reading the material. It is because of the principles on the basis of which the materials have been written. That is more important. So therefore, the self-instruction material is talking to you as the teacher talks. Here, these books, not books, these material, they talk to you. So what is the need of this self-instruction material? Because in the distance, open and distance education system, there is a physical separation between the learner and the teacher. Therefore, in order to facilitate the process of learning, this method plays a very key role. So therefore, since the distance learner is away from the distance education institution, neither, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
हाँ ये कटिगला तो मुझे देखना ठीक है. So therefore, this is the situation. What is the situation? The teacher is away from the learner. For example, I am not with you. You are listening to me through the online. But in the normal classroom situation, as you are working, your student can see you. They can gossip with you. They can ask their doubts to you. They can tell their problems, which is not possible here. Therefore, this is the situation. Therefore, the learning material should be able to create a learning environment in itself for the students. That means the basic purpose of the self-instruction material is to create a learning environment. The teacher is in the formal system, in your classroom situation, you as a teacher, you are creating a learning environment. What is that environment? A climate, a condition in the classroom situation which facilitate the process of learning. ଧରିନିଅ କେତେବେଳେ ପିଲାଙ୍କୁ ଗୀତ ଗାଇ ପଢଉଛ, କେତେବେଳେ ଗପ କହି ପଢଉଛ, ଲର୍ଣ୍ଣିଂ କଣ୍ଡିସନ. କାହିଁକି ନା ଦେଖିଲ ପିଲାମାନେ 4-5 ପିରିୟଡ ପଢିଲେଣି, ପିଲା ବୋର ହେଇଗଲେଣି, ଟିକେ ଗପ ଗୀତ ନାଚ ଗୀତ କରିଦେଲେ ପିଲା ଆକ୍ଟିଭେଟ ହେଇଗଲେ ତମ ପୁଣି ଶୁଣିବେ. ଆଉ ବେଳେ ବେଳେ କଣ କରନ୍ତି ନା ସିମ୍ପଲ କଣ, ତମେ ଯିବ ପିଲା 3-4ଟା ପିରିୟଡ ପଢେ, ପିଲା କହେ ପିଲାମାନେ ସବୁ ଉଠ ବସ, ଉଠ ବସ, ଆମେ ତାକୁ ଷ୍ଟ୍ରେଚ ବ୍ୟାକ୍ ପିଲା ହାତ ହଲାହଲି କରି ଗୋଟେ ଜାଗାରେ ବସେ. ତମେ ମାନେ ମତେ 2 ଘଣ୍ଟା ଶୁଣୁଛ ବିରକ୍ତ ଲାଗିବ. ସେ ଛୋଟ ପିଲାମାନେ ସାଇକୋଲୋଜିକାଲି ଇଟ୍ ଇଜ ଅଲସୋ ସାଉଣ୍ଡ, ଇଟ୍ସ ନ୍ୟାଚୁରାଲ ଯେ ସେମାନେ ଘଣ୍ଟା ବସି ଶୁଣିଲା ବେଳକୁ ତାଙ୍କୁ ବୋର ଲାଗିବ. ତେଣୁ ହ୍ୱାଟ କ୍ୟାନ୍ ୱି ଡୁ? We can make use of some kind of psychological principles in the classroom situation. So therefore, learning environment can be created by the self-instruction material in the distance education system. So therefore, the self-learning materials consist of 2 broad components. One is your active learning component. So these are 2 components of your self-instruction material. One is active learning component, another is access device. You are related to that. What is this active learning component? The learner cannot learn just by being a passive recipient. ପିଲା କଣ ଖାଲି ଶିକ୍ଷକ କହୁତ ଶୁଣୁଥିବ, ସିଏ ମଧ୍ୟ କିଛି କହିବ, ସିଏ ମଧ୍ୟ କିଛି କରିବ. So therefore the learner is active through self-instruction material. ପିଲାଙ୍କୁ କୁହାଯିବ ଦେଖିଲ ଏଠି କଣ ଚିତ୍ର କଲି, କଣ ବୁଝେଇ ପାରିବା, ଦେଖିଲ ଏଇଟା କଣ ହବ. So therefore the learner can learn by performing various pedagogical activities. What are the pedagogical activities? Learning activities as perceiving, comprehending, conceptualizing learning tasks, like that. For example, you are showing a picture. ପିଲାଙ୍କୁ କହିବା କଣ ନା ସାର୍ ଏଟା ଶିବାଜୀ, ତମେ ଶିବାଜୀ ପଢୁଛ, ଧରିନିଅ ଶିବାଜୀ ପିକ୍ଚର. ନା ଶିବାଜୀ ପିକ୍ଚର ଆଉ କଣ ଦେଖୁଛ, ନା ସାର୍ ତାଙ୍କ ଡେଙ୍ଗା ନାକ, ତାଙ୍କ ଟୋପି ଅଛି, ତାଙ୍କୁ ଖଣ୍ଡା ଅଛି, ଅମିକ, ତମେ ଏଥିରୁ କଣ ଜଣା ପଡୁଛି ନା ସେ ଜଣେ ବୀର, ସେ ମହାଯୋଦ୍ଧା. ଯୋଦ୍ଧା ହେଲେ କଣ ଲାଭ ହବ ଦେଶର? सी आमको बहिर्शक्ति आक्रमण कला आमको रक्षा करें like that. एमती कही learning activities are of different forms. So therefore हमें पढ़े देले प्रोजेक्ट नहीं पारिबा ड्रामा करि पारिबा तम एनुअल फंक्शन ले हमें शिवाजी ड्रामा करि पारिबा पिलांगर आउर शिवाजी ऊपर बेसिक मास्टर आसीबो like that. They can that will help them in thinking, writing. This has been therefore through these writing they can strengthen their memory. They can extend what has just been learned, apply what has been learned, test comprehension, whether you have understood or not, we can understand. Also, they can dramatize. This is all about your first component of your self-learning material. That is your active learning component. Second is access device. What is this access device? The access devices are essential components. These devices make the learning material more accessible, close, more accessible to the students. The access devices are those devices which help the course writer go as close to the. That means whenever you are writing, for example, your material, after a particular concept is discussed, then it is said, can you just think of what has been told? Then there is a self-exercise. What is this? You can answer like that. That is access device. Allow the student to go to as close to the content as possible. The access devices provide an outline of the whole course or unit as the case may be. So that means before you, what your Oswell says, that is your advanced organizer. Before you talk about in detail, give 1 minute or 2 minutes summary. So this is this. Now in detail we can discuss. Now before going to this detailed discussion, the student can have some understanding about the unit. Therefore, the three main functions of access devices are: number one function, enable students to find what they need to study in the material. So it is the easy means and way to read the content. That means before the content, deliverable content, आम नाटक पूर्व नृत्य नाटिका सेमती आम जो शिवाजी पढ़ा ना तापटे गपटे शिवाजी संपर्कित गोटे गपटे कहीदे कि गोटे कौन कहीदे पिला माने से टाणी आसबे. Then second is make the content more intimate to students. Now the students are familiar, then they can be motivated. Then perform the function of a live classroom teacher. That is build a teacher into the learning material. That means whenever you are going to the reading the material, self-instruction material, the teacher is not there. It is talking like a teacher. The language used in the self-instruction material, एठी एमिति लेखा है जे जेमि टीचर को क्लासरूम में सीमित लेखा है आमे कहि पिला माने तमे लेखा है एठी लेखा है यू आर सबल you are quite aware of this fact. You know, language is like that, as if the teacher is telling. Some of the examples are given, examples of access device. Some of the access devices used in self-learning material are as follows: title, structure, objective, illustration, summary, glossary. This has been followed in your material. You can see before the content starts, before the unit starts. For example, this is the structure. This is your access device. For example, media and technology. This is the unit 6. Media and technology for open and distance education. Structure. 6.0 introduction. 6.1 objectives. 6.2 media. So all these. Then 6.4 let us sum up. Then 6.5 answer to check your progress. Then reference. Then unit ending. So this is the access device which has been used in your self-instruction material, which can facilitate the process of learning. Then now the question is, who is preparing the self-instruction material? Definitely the writer, course writer. Then what are the qualifications, prerequisites, requirements Prerequisite for course writer or instruction designer. So number one is familiarity with the system. Now, in case of, because your open and distance education system, it does not have its own original people. Now, the course writers are from the conventional system. ଧରିନିଅ ମୁଁ ବି ଲେଖିଛି କୋର୍ସ ରାଇଟର ତମର ବିଏଡ୍ ର ଇଭାଲୁଏସନ ଲେଖିଛି then from the formal system they are the course writers. What ଆମକୁ କଣ କୁହାଗଲା ନା ଯେତେ କୋର୍ସ ରାଇଟିଂ ପୂର୍ବରୁ we have been acquainted with familiarity with the distance education system. Distance education system ର ଲକ୍ଷ୍ୟ କଣ ପିଲା କେମିତି ଭଲ ଭାବେ ପଢିବେ ପିଲାମାନେ ଦୂରରେ ଅଛନ୍ତି ଶିକ୍ଷକ ସହିତ ତାଙ୍କ କମ ଦେଖା ଯାଉଛି ତେଣୁ ତାଙ୍କୁ କେମିତି ଲେଖିଲେ ତାଙ୍କ ପିଲାମାନେ ବୁଝିପାରେ simplicity language ଲେଖିବ like that. So now the target group we must understand all these. Familiar with the syllabus, whether you are writing for B.Ed or M.Ed or M.A. or your diploma or degree, that you should know. Familiarity with the theories of learning. Already we know that there are certain theories of learning, like for example, Gane theory of learning, Skinner operant condition theory of learning, Ausubel theory of learning, Bloom's taxonomy, Bloom's learning theory. Similarly, your Ausubel's learning theory. So all the theories, they can help us in the process of writing the self-instruction material. If the writer does not know, if the writer does not have any idea about these principles, these theories of learning, then he cannot write well. So therefore, now, when you are preparing the self-instruction material, that is self-learning print material, self-learning print materials are prepared and developed for the purpose of providing programmed instruction to the distant learner. Programmed instruction, step by step. The program is designed in such a way that the student can proceed step by step. We call it small step. At his or her own pace. ତମେ ତମ ଅନୁସାରେ ଧୀରେ ଧୀରେ step by step ଯିବ ଏବଂ ପାଠକୁ ଜାଣିବ like that. The process of preparation of self-learning print materials unit can be conventionally divided into 3 stages. So whenever you are preparing self-instruction print material, these are 3 stages. Arranging topics, that is concept mapping. How to start, how to proceed step by step, which is the beginning one, what is the major concept, what are the minor concepts, how can you connect them. Then preparing unit structure, that means heading, writing the unit. So these are the 3 components. For example, arranging the topic, concept mapping. So that this is the topics, the concepts and the learning objectives are interrelated. So therefore, a topic tells us what the subject or topic, the point of the presentation is. Therefore, in the beginning of the topic, you must write, after the structure, you must write something about topic and objective. What are the objective for which this content is to be learned? Identifying and arranging the topics provide the writer the concept map. That means the concept is gradually mapped, gradually arranged. Identifying and arranging topics provide the writer the concept map of the unit content. The concept mapping is a process. What is concept mapping? The concept mapping is a process in which the unit writer, you are writing, the unit writer identify the key concept. So this is the first concept. For example, you are to write on some the unit on Mughal period. So that Mughal period is the concept. Then how can you make concept for example Mughal periods? Say for example Akbar, Jahangir, Humayun, Jahangir, Akbar, Shahjahan, like that, step by step. Then therefore this is your concept mapping. Then preparing the unit, it has been given just like your material. So this is the structure. How the unit is structured. First is introduction. Briefly write something about, as it is written here, about the topic. Then what are the next is what are the objectives? So X and the unit is 5. So 5.0 is introduction, 5.1 is objectives, then 5.2 is your main topic. For example, we can talk of, I can take any unit from yours so that you can understand. For example, development of e-learning. Development of e-learning. That is the unit. Then introduction is given. Then objectives are written. Then the main topic is e-learning. What, why, how. That these are main topic. Then this is the divisions are there. Difference between between internet and web we talked about like that. Pedagogical implications. Then after some discussion, then check in a table form. In a table form, it is given. That is your check your progress. That means you have gone through this material. Whether you have gone rightly or wrongly, we want to check because the teacher is not there. Therefore, the material is talking like a teacher. Check your progress. For example, the question is, instruction is given, space given below. The question is for writing your answer. Answer likhibo. Check second. Check your answer with the one given at the answer like a unit session. What is the question? Explain the concept of e-learning and its significance in open and distance education. तामाने या पूर्वरु हमरो e-learning उपरे कुआ जायछि तार significance एवं तार concept कोन open distance education ले तुम पढिलो तुम बुझछ नै एटु लेखिले जणा पडिबो एवं तुम लेखिला परे उत्तर ठीक अछि नै टीचर तो नाहंती ना तेन कोन होइछि ना उत्तर दिया आइछि पछरे जो यूनिट रो सरला परे पछर दिया जाइछि तेन तमर उत्तर ठीक अछि नै से उत्तर को मिलैबो जदि तम उत्तर से उत्तर प्राय मिल गला तान तम उत्तर ठीक अछि जदि तमर उत्तर मिलुनी तम भूल छ अगेन यू विल रीड दैट मीन जो जहा को पढिलो ए प्रश्न पूर्वरु काने सेही जहा पढिलो ता पर प्रश्न हिच ना ता माने ता पर तम मास्टरी नाही तमे जानि ना हो अगेन आउथरे पढिबो ता पर ठीक भाई उत्तरटा हबो ता पर पुन नेक्स्ट कंटेंट दियो ता पर कोनला एटा गला पर ता पर हला कोन मेजर कांसेप्ट ला कोन टाइप्स ऑफ ई-लर्निंग रिसोर्सेस चला लिखा गेला ता पर क्वेश्चन आसे चेक योर प्रोग्रेस हां चेक योर प्रोग्रेस कोन व्हाट आर द टाइप्स ऑफ ई-लर्निंग रिसोर्सेस एटा पढि जो ठीक है पढि जो एटु उत्तर दबो ता पर गला ता पर आसला कोन डिजिटल कंटेंट क्रिएशन टूल्स एटा चलला एटा मेन कांसेप्ट चलला परे पुणे सब चेक योर प्रोग्रेस हम क्वेश्चन प्रश्न पचारंती कोन व्हाट इज लर्निंग मैनेजमेंट सिस्टम लिखाई छि एरी कोन सइला चलला परे पले सइला परे ता पर आसला कोन तमरो ना लेट अस सम अप ए जो यूनिट लिखाला ब्रीफली पुरो समझ दबो जे यूनिट रे या कहै छि तमे या जानथिबो तमे बुझिबो ठीक ता पर आंसर टू चेक योर प्रोग्रेस जो चेक योर प्रोग्रेस होती तार आंसर देला तापर नेक्स्ट है रेफरेंस टू राइट दिस यूनिट द कोर्स राइटर हैज रेफर टू सम जर्नल सम बुक्स some autobiography or some reference material so those are written here then last is your unit and exercises unit and questions are given for your practice or for your reflection that is how you are writing a particular unit this is the structure so when you are writing the unit the structure is prepared when you are writing the unit how can you write the unit so that should be a beginning of the unit that is unit structure then after unit structure introduction of the unit already I have told you briefly introduce then objectives then main body already I have told you when you are writing down the main bodies for example importance of electronic media in distance education system that is the main body now that main body when you are writing you should follow these things one is logical arrangement of learning points. Whenever you are writing, you must write order in an orderly way. Logically, there should be coherence. धरी ମୁଁ ଛୋଟିଆ କଥା କହୁଛି ବୁଝିବ ତମେ ଶିବାଜୀଙ୍କ ବିଷୟରେ ପିଲାଙ୍କୁ ଏଇ ଷ୍ଟାଇଲରେ ଲେଖିବ ପିଲାମାନେ ଲେଖାଯିବ ଏଇ ପାଠରେ ତମକୁ ତମେ ପଢିଲେ ଶିବାଜୀ କଥା ଜାଣିବ ଶିବାଜୀଙ୍କ ଜୀବନୀ ବିଷୟରେ ଜାଣିବ ଏବଂ ଶିବାଜୀ କେମିତି ଜଣେ ଭଲ ମହାରାଜ ବିରାଟ ବୀର ହେଲା ତାପରେ ମେନ୍ କୋର୍ସ ଲେଖା କଣ ଶିବାଜୀ 1680 ଖ୍ରୀଷ୍ଟ ଅମୁକ ବିଷୟରେ ମରିଗଲେ ଆରେ ଜନ୍ମ ତ ହେଲେ ତା ମରିବ ନା ଆଗେ ତା ଜନ୍ମ ହେବେ কোন জায়গায় জন্ম হলে তার বাপা না কোন মা না কোন সে কোটি পাঠ পড়লে তারপরে রাজত্ব কেমতি কলে শাসন হাত নেলে কেমতি রাজত্ব তারপরে মরলে দিস ইজ দ্য অর্ডারলিনেস কোহেরেন্স দ্যাট লজিক্যাল কোহেরেন্স মাস্ট বি মেনটেন ordering of content then personalized style so you must every course writer should be sympathetic and generous in discussing the content adequately so whenever your content is there but how it will be appealing to the students it is your personal style सब तो गोटे पाठ पढ़ अच्छी जने शिक्षक पढ़ले तुम कहीं कहते से द टीचर ए इज बेटर टीचर टीचर बी इज नॉट ए बेटर टीचर व्हाई ने जो शिक्षक भल कंटेंट प्रेजेंट कला भल गप कही कि मजे की अमकी भल टीचर लाइक दैट then language when you are writing the content you must be sure for whom you are writing आमे जो पाठटी लेखुचंती कोन सोई पिला पई बीएड पिला पई ना एमए पिला पई बीएड पिला हेले टी सिंपल हबो एमए पिला हेले सेटा स्पेशलाइज आउर अधिक डिफिकल्ट हबो पीएचडी पे हेले आउर डिफिकल्ट हबो प्लस 2 पे हेले सिंपल हबो धरी ने फॉर एग्जांपल आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट फॉर्मल सिस्टम पंचम श्रेणी की सप्तम श्रेणी से अच्छी अशोक से बुद्धदेव प्लस 2 अच्छी बुद्धदेव प्लस 3 अच्छी बुद्धदेव कोन समान कथा कंटेंट इज मोर difficulty level is more धरी नियो प्लस 3 बुद्धदेव कोन रिफ्लेक्टिव लेवल पढ़ाउछ हम तीनटा लेवल ना देयर आर 3 levels of teaching one is memory level another is your understand level another reflective level हमर हायर क्लास रे प्लस 3 लेवल ले सब रिफ्लेक्टिव लेवल पिला चिंता तमे कोन भाबु तो एमति का हेला कोन हेता कोन करा जाई नहीं हमर सेकेंडरी रे प्लस 2 पर्यंत कोन मैट्रिक प्लस 2 कोन ना कहीं केमिति हेला तमे कोन करि परछांत काई किंतु प्राइमरी एलिमेंटरी लेवल कोन शिवाजी बापा ना कोन से कोन खाइथिले कोन पिथिले कोन करथिले कोन कोन काहे की हायर लेवल कोन हेई परछांता ए तीनटा लेवल से देखिया पर लैंग्वेज टी सिंपल होबो इलस्ट्रेशन एग्जांपल you can you know to clarify the doubt of the students we must cite examples then to what extent the students have been able to grasp the idea how can you know मु एटा पढिलो तब ठीक है पढछो ना मु किमि जानिबी ना जहा पढितो तापर प्रश्न पचारिबा ए जो लिखा चेक योर प्रोग्रेस then ending the unit that means you can give a conclusion so in this unit in brief this has been talked about summary glossary reference section and such like that then after writing the unit then editing that means whether it is written in the right way or not there is an expert committee they will edit and they will edit there are 4 types of editing one is your format editing means to be done by the education technologist or distance education format ता चित्रटा केमिति हबो देखि धरि नियो तमर एइटा जो हे फॉर्मेट ए चित्र हेछि सब एक्सपर्ट भाबी जंती सेमते अन्य बय अन्य प्लान अन्य हेतो देन कंटेंट एडिटिंग टू बी डन बाय द सीनियर एकेडमिक कंटेंट कोन कोन पाठ रहइबो कोन उदाहरण दिया हेछि कोन ठीक बार प्रेजेंट कराइछि नाही देन लैंग्वेज एडिटिंग लैंग्वेज एक्सपर्ट माने भाषा ठीक अछि नाही वर्डिंग ठीक अछि कि नाही देखिबे then copy editing to be done by the technical experts with adequate knowledge of experience in printing one printing material चित्र ठीक अछि नाही भलो अक्षर हेछि नाही अक्षर साइज ठीक अछि नाही so these are your editing part then after editing we can say that this is a proper course like that then for example in step figure 7.1, two different formats of SPL, self learning printed material दिखाई आम जो फॉलो करें किसी असुविधा ना ये स्ट्रक्चर एट कंटेन बट आम यही लेफ्ट साइड फॉलो कर इग्नो फॉलो कर लेफ्ट साइड कौटा ना स्ट्रक्चर टा कौन 1.0 इंट्रोडक्शन 1.1 ऑब्जेक्टिव 1.2 कॉन्सेप्ट मेजर कॉन्सेप्ट फाइनल कॉन्सेप्ट specific terms then significant nature goals objectives then let us sum up answer to check reference এটা out ଅଛି content কোন introduction clarifying the question like that, it is there. So this is how the format of self learning printed material can be followed. The main body when you are writing the main body, that main body should include not only content, not only illustration, but also exercise, check your progress, self-assessment questionnaire, like questions. Whenever you are editing all these, then what is to be done? Which aspect? Relationship or link between the objective set, I mean objective अच्छी, ता अनुसार पाठ लिखा है ना, तक चेक करिबा. Appropriateness of the level, adequacy and quality. आमे को पिला पाइन धरी नियो, बीएड पिला पाइन जो लैंग्वेज यूज करिबा, +2 पिला पाइन से करिया, अब सिंपल हबो, ताको देखिबा. Logical sequencing, धारावाहिक किमति logical one after one. Explanation, illustration, examples, जो explanation दिया है जो उदाहरण दिया है ता ठीक अछि नाही से ठीक अछि माने कोन ना सेही लेवल पाई बेले बेले हमें कोन कर दी ना कोर्स राइटर प्लस बीएड पिला पाई लेखाउची से उदाहरण दैछन 55 सेक्टर भी ऑक्टोम प्ले नाही +3 लेवल काने +3 पिला करो बीएड पिला करो अगर कॉग्निटिव वेरी हाई cognitively they are stupendous, so therefore the illustration should be cognitively something excellent. Then spontaneous flow of ideas and argument. Whatever ideas have been given, is it borrowed from where anywhere else or it is spontaneous? That means it is your own original, not copied. जो idea दिया हो जो उदाहरण दिया हो ना जो निजर हवा होता. Like relevance of information, whatever information is given in the content, are they relevant to the stage? आमे जो कथा कहउछंती लेखा रे सेटा बीएड पिला में लेखा हिची बीएड पिला में ठीक हो तो यदि नहीं तो एडिट करले कटिबा. Updated and accurate information. Sometimes what happen, we have given the information very obsolete, outdated. धरी न ए बोटा लेखा हिची ए सॉरी नॉट बही सेल्फ इंस्ट्रक्शन मटेरियल लेखा हिची आमे जे 19 डाटा दबा 1990 मसिया ना एबे 2025 आनी हमको कम से कम 2015 कि 20 मसिया दबा पड़ो 4-5 वर्ष तळ कथा कहया पड़ियो आ 25 वर्ष 30 वर्ष तळ नु. सो अपडेट इंफॉर्मेशन. देन प्रेजेंटेशन ऑफ कंटेंट इन स्मॉल एंड मैनेजेबल चंक. छोटो छोटो पैराग्राफ लिखिया पड़ियो पिला माने नन बड़ पैराग्राफ धैर्य रे चिकी पड़ियो छोटो पैराग्राफ रे हां ई पैराग्राफ पढ़ दिए. Then enough number of activities. Yes, when the distance learner is going through the self instruction material, there must be activities so that the student will do some activities, self activities like that, so that we can say this is a good material. Therefore, once this material has been edited through in terms of content, in terms of language, in terms of your copy, then we can say that material is a good one and it can facilitate the process of learning. So this is all about the unit 7. The last unit of block 2 is your unit 8. That is about development of e-learning resources. Already you know that distance education uses a variety of technologies, media. So we call it mass media, or we call family of approaches are used, methods are used in distance learning system, education system. So therefore, we have to develop e-learning resources. E means electronic gadgets, electronic learning resources. Let us discuss all these. What is that e-learning? E-learning is an abbreviation of the term electronic learning. Already I have told you. E-learning literally means, what does it mean? Literally means the type of learning carried out, facilitated or supported by some or other electronic gadgets, media, and resources. That means they are facilitating. They are supplementing the information. Broadly speaking, e-learning is nothing but learning facilitated by the use of range of electronic media. That means when the learning is facilitated by the use of a range of electronic media and technology, which include mainframe computers, microphones, listening devices, audio, videotape, floppy diskettes, multimedia, CD-ROMs, interactive video discs, and advanced ICT. If all these are used, then we can say these are all your e-learning. That means there is learning through the use of all these materials to facilitate the process of learning. Today, e-learning is mostly delivered through the internet, so mostly internet. Although in the past it was delivered by using a blend means mixture, blend of computer-based method like CD-ROM, e-learning, CD-ROM. E-learning offers the ability and facility to share material in all kinds of formats such as such as video, slideshows, Word documents, PDF, like that. That means which portion will be done by which technology, that you will decide. For example, you are presenting the content. Now, which portion will be through video, which portion will be through audio, which portion will be through computer, which portion will be through picture. So that means you are combining, blending a variety of technologies, ICTs, to facilitate the process of learning. That means we are talking about it is e-learning. In the emerging open distance education context, e-learning refers. Now let us come to the context of our distance education system, or open education system. E-learning refers to utilizing electronic technologies to access educational curriculum outside of a traditional classroom situation. Because we are the distant learners, we do not have any classroom like the traditional classroom, conventional classroom. So therefore, it enables the student to access, investigate. You are online. For example, I am TikToking, I am giving, telling you through online. This is e-learning. So therefore, e-learning enables the student distant students, to access, investigate, analyze, construct, and evaluate concepts and ideas encountered in their course. In the course, there are different ideas, and those ideas have been presented by adopting a variety of a family of methods, a family of media, but appropriate to the situation. For example, you are talking about, say, flood. Now, you can use the clips which have documented, for example, Kerala se kim thegila, ebe amar heichi amar Wainada, Kerala kim thela. That clip the student can be shown. Similarly, amar Bartman ei jo hela Kedarnath se kim thela, ba Uttarakhand kim thela. ये सब पिला को देखेले step by step, then you can say what is your impression about this situation. ना सर लोगों का अवस्था खराब है तो हम के समय के कोई, let them feel, that is affected domain, let them feel the situation and let them tell what is your action in that context, like that. That e-learning is an interactive learning in which the learning input or experience or content is available online and provides automatic feedback to the learner's learning activity. For example, you have been told, you means as a distant learner, You are a distance learner. You have been told to prepare a project. ମୁଁ ଏବେ କହୁଛି ଅନଲାଇନ କରିବା ଏମିତି ଗୋଟେ ପ୍ରୋଜେକ୍ଟ କରିବ କେମିତି କରିବ so therefore you have to take the help of different media different technologies so now you can download you can get you can make a video you can make use of audio you can make use of some tape recording you can make use of your teleconference like that এই কনসেপ্ট এই কনটেক্সটରେ ଆମର টেলিକନଫରେନ୍ସିଂ এই কথাটি ପଢିବା ପାଇଁ ପିଲାଙ୍କୁ ଏଇଆ କରାଯିବ এই কথাটি କରିବା ପାଇଁ ଆମକୁ ଇଲଷ୍ଟ୍ରେଟ ଉଦାହରଣ ଦିଆଯିବ এই କଥା କରିବା ପାଇଁ ଆମକୁ ଭିଡିଓ ଦେଖାଦବ ଲାଇକ୍ ଦ୍ୟାଟ୍ ଆମେ ବର୍ତ୍ତମାନ ଯୋଉ ଆମେ କହୁଛୁ ନା 5E ମଡେଲ ର ଆଇକନ ମଡେଲ ଇଣ୍ଟରପ୍ରିଟେସନ କନଷ୍ଟାଣ୍ଟ ମଡେଲ ସେ ସେଇଠି କହୁଛନ୍ତି ଆମ ଫର୍ମାଲ ସିଷ୍ଟମରେ ଯେ ଆମକୁ ବହୁତ ଆମର ଖାଲି ଲେକ୍ଚର ଦେଲେ ହବନି ଆମକୁ ବିଭିନ୍ନ କୁ ଫ୍ୟାମିଲି ଆମ ବିଭିନ୍ନ କୁ ସମ୍ମିଶ୍ରଣ କରିବାକୁ ପଡିବ ମିକ୍ସଚର କରିବାକୁ ପଡିବ କଣ ନା କେତେବେଳେ ଶିକ୍ଷକ କହିବେ କେତେବେଳେ ଗପ କହିବେ କେତେବେଳେ ନେରେସନ କୁହାଯିବ କେତେବେଳେ ଏକ୍ସପ୍ଲାନେସନ କରାଯିବ କେତେବେଳେ ଟେକ୍ସଟ ବୁକ୍ ଦେଖାଯିବ କେତେବେଳେ ଫିଲ୍ଡ କି ଯିବା ଏକୁ ସବୁ ମିଶେଇଲେ ଗୋଟେ ହେଲା କଣ ଇନଷ୍ଟ୍ରକ୍ସନ ହେଲା ଲାଇକ୍ ଦ୍ୟାଟ୍ so therefore there are so therefore this e-learning includes effective learning means there are many types of learning but some may not be effective so to make the learning effective combining judiciously including the different types of electronic media method digitally delivered content so then support services so you will find that these are the reasons for which we can have electronic media then what are the different type of activities e-learning happens through how does e-learning happen e-learning happens through undertaking e-learning activities which are either synchronous or asynchronous in other words e-learning provides for both synchronous and asynchronous communication so what is synchronous these events or activities take place in real time synchronous communication between two people requires both of them to remain present for example that is chatting two people are there chatting instant messaging video audio conference live webcasting application sharing whiteboard virtual classroom these are your synchronous but that means two are in the real life situation then asynchronous these events or activities are time independent a self-paced course is an example you are doing your own at your home that is coming under your asynchronous activities similarly online education can help you to gather information or learn many things like that online learning and web-based learning are sometimes used interchangeably web-based learning is a computer-based learning in which the learning material is presented on pages accessible through World Wide Web World Wide Web typical media used are texts so in the computer these are the text graphic animation audio and video like that so therefore you can make use of internet or you can make use of web but there is difference between web and internet the internet and web are two different things the internet is a massive network of network many people can make use of it a networking infrastructure the world wide web simply web is a way of access एटा हम access पाइबा किंतु एटी इंटरेक्शन बेसी हे जिवो को तो हमरो इंटरनेट रे so therefore e-learning thus represents a new paradigm of learning cognitive constructive approach which encourages construction of new knowledge structures and avenues of their use so this is the reason for which we can make use of e-learning not only assimilation of knowledge Through e-learning, we can construct knowledge. What is construction of knowledge? Constructivism. What is construction of knowledge? Knowledge is constructed, not assimilated. Means what? Knowledge, meaning making. Knowledge is a matter of meaning making. For example, when you say, I know the mathematics teacher is teaching you digit 1, 2, 3, 4. So when you know the 2, somebody may ask you, what is about 2? Do you know 2? তুমি 2 জানিছ না হ্যাঁ কোন না 1 ଠୁ 2 ଅଧିକ 1 ପରେ 2 এটা ম্যাথমেটিক্যাল ঠিক ଅଛି না ইট ইজ নট কনস্ট্রাকশন নলেজ ইট ইজ আসিমিলেট তুমি খালি ঘোষিত 1 ପରେ 2 2 ଠାରୁ 1 1 ଠାରୁ 2 ବଡ 1 ଅଧିକା ନା ଆଉ কোন ইন্টারপ্রিট কর না আমি কইব কোন এক ব্রহ্ম দ্বিতীয় নাস্তি 2 মানে 2 নাই দিটা ব্রহ্ম নুহ 1 ব্রহ্ম দিস ইজ ইন্টারপ্রিটেশন অফ 1 and 2 ଆଉ କିଏ କହିପାରିବ କଣ ନା ଆମେ ଦୈତ ନଗରୀରେ ଅଛୁ ମୋର ଘର ଦୈତ ନଗରୀ କଟକ ଭୁବନେଶ୍ୱର ମଝିରେ ଦୈତ ଏଇ କଣ ସବୁ ଦୁଇ କନସେପ୍ଟକୁ ସେ କଣ ସେଠି କଣ ଜହ୍ନରେ ଦିଟା ଦିଗ ଅଛି କଣ ଗୋଟେ ହେଲା କଣ ଅମାବାସ୍ୟା ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ ହେଲା କଣ ନା ପୂର୍ଣ୍ଣମୀ ପ୍ରତ୍ୟେକ ମଣିଷଙ୍କର ଦୁଇଟି ଲକ୍ଷ୍ୟ ଅଛି ଗୋଟେ କଣ ନା ଅଲ୍ଟିମେଟ ଗୋଲ ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ ହେଲା ଇମିଡିଏଟ ଗୋଲ ଅଲ୍ଟିମେଟ ଗୋଲ କଣ ନା ଭଗବାନଙ୍କୁ ପାଇବା ବା ଆମେ କହୁଛେ ମୁକ୍ତି ସାଲଭେସନ ଦ୍ୟାଟ ଇଜ ଅଲ୍ଟିମେଟ ଅନ୍ୟ ଲକ୍ଷ୍ୟଟି କଣ ଦିଟା ଲକ୍ଷ୍ୟ ଗୋଟେ ହେଲା ଅଲ୍ଟିମେଟ ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ ହେଲା କଣ ଇମିଡିଏଟ କଣ ନା ଖାଦ୍ୟ ଫୁଡ ସେଲ୍ଟର ରୋଟି କପଡା ମକାନ food clothing and shelter so therefore now a student who says that 2 aims of education two sides of human being ଆମେ କହନ୍ତି ନା ପ୍ରତ୍ୟେକ ମଣିଷ ଦିଟା ଜୀବନ ନେଇ ବଞ୍ଚେ କଣ ନା ଗୋଟେ ଜୀବନକୁ ସେ ଦେଖିପାରେ ତମେ କଣ ଭିତରେ ଭାବୁଛ ମୁଁ ଜାଣିପାରିବି ବା ମୁଁ କଣ ଭାବୁ ତମେ ଜାଣିପାରିବି ତେଣୁ ପ୍ରତ୍ୟେକ ମଣିଷ ଦିଟା ଜୀବନ ନେଇ ବଞ୍ଚେ ଗୋଟେ ହେଲା ସେଇ ଜୀବନକୁ ସେ ଦେଖିବ ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ ଜୀବନକୁ ଅନୁମାନ ଦେଖିପାରିବି ବା ସେ ଅନ୍ୟମାନଙ୍କ ଜୀବନ ଦେଖିପାରିବ ତେଣୁ when the student goes beyond telling about 2 ଖାଲି ଦୁଇଟା ଗୋଟିଏ ଗାଣିତିକ ସଂଖ୍ୟା ନୁହଁ ଆମେ କହନ୍ତି ନା ଜୀବନଟା ଗୋଟେ ସଂଖ୍ୟା ନୁହଁ ମଣିଷ ଗୋଟେ ସଂଖ୍ୟା ମୋର ବୟସ ହେଲା 68 ମାନେ କଣ ମୁଁ 68 ଟା ଗୋଟେ ବୟସ ଗୋଟେ ସମୟ ନୁହଁ ସରି ବୟସ ଗୋଟେ ସଂଖ୍ୟା ନୁହଁ ଇଏ ଗୋଟେ ସମୟ like that so therefore we must make use of e-learning therefore e-pedagogy and design process what is e-pedagogy e-pedagogy might broadly be defined as learning design it is a kind of design learning design that incorporates educational quality values and effectiveness of teaching learning and assessment activities so when all pedagogy means teaching learning process science of teaching so you are using electronic gadgets but those gadgets must have educational qualitatively high values our India nowadays we talk about indigenous values that means India based values effective teaching learning process assessment activity when all these are there we can say it is a concept pedagogy e-learning pedagogy or pedagogy of e-learning represents instructional activity it is a kind of instructional activities that promote active student learning in the context of learning that means why are you using this e-pedagogy to make the learning process more effective so that the student can participate and they will become motivated it will focus on the exploitation of information technologies to adapt to the varying learning scenario that means you are learning something and that could be used in various situations of life therefore one of the biggest challenges faced by e-learning experts is the lack of relevant e-content in the digitized or electronic form it is very difficult to get the content Gupta argued that management of content making it available to a number of learners understanding the intellectual issues of the content. For example, sometimes you are presenting the content. It may not be, it is very systematic, it is very logical, but intellectually it is not so high. लोक कहबे एरा कोन अति तल स्तर लिखा है एटा प्लस रे पढाबे कोन पंचम अष्टम श्रेणी स्टैंडर्ड लिखा है इंटेलेक्चुअल इश्यूज ऑफ द कंटेंट फाइंडिंग आउट द मोस्ट रेलेवेंट लर्निंग कंटेंट to be in the line with the course objective are some of the challenges. So these are the problems of designing e-learning materials. So when you are preparing the e-learning material, designing the learning material, Bekta suggested these things. What are suggestions made by Bekta? Learners should know why they are learning sometimes. That means I am learning. For example, you are a learner. You should know why are you a student of B.Ed? Why are you doing B.Ed? Through IGNOU. You must know what is your purpose. The material should be appropriate to the learning and training needs. So the students have their needs. If the material is not satisfying the needs of the learner, it is meaningless. The material should be motivating, interactive. Then the assessment of learning should directly involve the learner. That means whenever you are assessing, the learner should take active part. Similarly, R12 suggests the following: defining objective, what should be the objective, what are the outcomes, what the students are expected to learn from this, that is objective. Then basing e-learning on learners' own experiences. Sometimes, for example, there are a variety of learners. You belong to a cultivator family. I belong to I belong to a family where I have no parents. Another student, his father is a teacher. So students have different background. If the e-learning materials are based upon the background of the learner, then it will be interesting, motivating, creating learning environment. So you have to create the environment where it can be used. Then supporting e-learning, the learners have different socio-economic, cultural and educational background, and therefore it should support their context. Then developing dynamic and sustainable content. So whenever the content is there, but it should be sustainable. It should stay for some. No, you have written. You are writing the textbook for 10 years, 15 years, not for 1 month or 2 years. So sustainability, also dynamic, because time, society is changing, things go on changing. So how do we accommodate the changing context scenario? That must be there. Developing flexible mode of delivery. So whenever the electronic media are used, so there should be a variety of techniques that should be used. For example, sometimes video, sometimes audio, sometimes teleconferencing, sometimes interaction, like that. Recording, validating and presenting learning. So whatever you teach, the students have to learn. So it should be recorded. It should be validated. That means the material, the content presented must be authenticated, must be genuine. Not something but बहुत दिन तले फॉर्मल सिस्टम रे केते बदे 3-4 वर्ष तले लेखा हितला ज्योग्राफी सोशल स्टडी ईवीएस रे जे अट्री होज कोरापुट जिल्ला रे माने बहुत रिएक्शन हला रे अट्रीटा खोरधा जिल्ला रे कोरापुट के हला माने लक्ष लक्ष पैसा पोडा गला केते टका नष्ट हला. So like that, don't give wrong concept. Then there are different types of e-learning resources. For example, one type of resources, e-resources are vital sources of e-learning because you are using these resources. For example, digitalization. And digitation is the process of transferring the text, sound, and images or motion picture from analog for example, continuous stream of data that we can see and hear. That's analog. Then one form of e-learning resources are your digital print in the digital form, like these include websites, e-books, journals, e-theses, electronic form, e-dictionary, e-catalog, e-archives, data files, e-encyclopedia, guidebooks and handbooks and others. So these are your digital print materials. That is e-learning resources. Another e-learning resource is digital audio. Suniba, digital audio like CD, etc. Then another form is digital video. Dekhiba. So like that, digital images are like that. Analog video represent moving visual images. Images are moving step by step. Then web-based resources. Uh, for example, web resources or web-based resources include web-based applications or services that are accessed using HTTP or HTTPS. Web-based resources encompass everything and entity that can be identified like that. So this is also now the characteristics of web-based resources are given, like for example, non-linear instruction, that means provide sufficient hyperlinks to enable learners to interact with the materials in a not in a line, in a line, different lines. Collaborate, mixing, access easily you can get. Then active learning, the students are participating, multiple perspective. You can look the same thing from different angle. Problem solving, you can solve the problem by adopting different approaches. Web-based learner support. Then digital content creation tools. Also, we can create some tools digitally. That is also then visual content creation tools. You can see the content visually. That like the tools of keyword analysis. For example, keyword finder, word stream, like that. Google, like that. Then content generation tools like Canva, www.canva.com, content idea generator, www.potent.com, like that. These are tools. That means websites. Content analysis tools, for example, BOSMO, Evernote, word counter, like that. Then text editing, content readability testing, and like that. It is there. Then data analytics and infographics tool. Then image duplicate content, that is plagiarism. Nowadays, how original you are, that can be known from the plagiarism, like your www plug spotter, plagiarism software, like it is there. Also another is image sourcing, creating, editing and uploading tools. These are tools like caption free image tools. You can read and you can understand. Then PowerPoint presentation also you can present in the Power. Then also you can have delivering e-learning. Now we have talked about different e-learning resources. Now whenever you are making the content, preparing the content, through that content you can deliver. Therefore, delivery of e-learning must therefore adapt to the changing needs and time of the target group. Target group means the students for whom it is to be used. Delivery of e-learning is done by ensuring support through web-based software application known as learner management system. The learner is managing. Similarly, learning management system, these are there. Then learning content management system, and a learning content management system manages and delivers personalized content, reducing the learner's time to acquire proficiency. That means it is prepared. Now you can go through and you can read, examples are there. So therefore, web tools are there. We can you can make use of that. Also, we have social. There are blogging, social bookmarking, also microblogging. These are different electronics resources, tools which can be used by the distant learners to make to facilitate the process of learning. So with these words, I can say that the block 2, teaching at a distance, design and development of open and distant learning resources, has been completed. That means to make the learning accessible to the learner, these tools or techniques or electronic media or e-learning tools can be used. This is all about your block 2. Tomorrow we can talk about the block 3, that is about, because the student distant in the open distance education system, the learner is more important. Therefore, how can we provide support? For example, take the case of yours. You will be given message that on such and such that your viva will be there, or your project work will be there. So this is support service. Similarly, your assignment, you are submitting your assignment. The moment you submit your assignment to the study center, they will go through it, they will check it, and you will be given a grade. And if you are not satisfied with the grade, you can write in the mail of the IGNOU. Then IGNOU can say, can tell you, please send back your send back your assignment. Then again it is rechecked. If it is like that, then you can say no. Then it can be written that it has been scrutinized and found that your assignment is not original, something like that. So therefore, the grade which has been given, that remains same. So this is a kind of your feedback. This is a kind of your support service, tutor comment. So tomorrow we can discuss in detail, not today. Thank you very much for your kind and patient hearing. Any problem or anything you want to discuss? Otherwise, you can close. We can wind up the session. Is it okay? Should I wind up the session?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.